Canada limits spousal work permits for foreign workers. Are you affected? Welcome back to Canada Chronicles. Today, we're diving into some urgent updates that could impact thousands of families in Canada. If you or your spouse is a foreign worker, you need to know about the new restrictions on spousal work permits that came into effect in September 2024. These changes could limit your ability to work, depending on your job or your partner's field of employment. We'll break down exactly what's changed, who's affected, and what you can do if these new rules impact you. There are solutions and alternatives you can explore, and we'll walk you through them. And be sure to stick with us until the end, because we'll dive into some key insights on the future of Canada's immigration policy and alternative pathways for families. You won't want to miss that part. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on important immigration news like this. Now, let's get started. Recent changes to Canada's immigration system are causing significant concern for many foreign workers and their families. As of September 2024, new rules have come into effect that limit spousal work permits, affecting thousands of foreign workers across the country. If you're wondering how these changes impact you or your family, stay tuned. This video covers everything you need to know about the new regulations and who is most affected. What are spousal work permits? First, let's break down what spousal work permits, OSWPs, are and why they matter. For years, Canada has allowed the spouses of temporary foreign workers to apply for open work permits. These permits enable spouses to work for any employer in Canada, without needing a job offer in advance. This policy was designed to support families, boost labor market participation, and attract foreign talent. It also eased the financial stress of having only one family member as the primary earner, especially for long-term temporary workers. However, as of 2024, this policy has undergone significant changes that have altered the landscape for many foreign workers and their families. The new limits. What's changed? As of September 2024, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, IRCC, has imposed new restrictions on who qualifies for spousal work permits. Unlike before, not all spouses of foreign workers will automatically qualify for these permits. 1. Occupational Limitations. Spouses of foreign workers are now only eligible for open work permits if the foreign worker is employed in certain sectors or occupations. Specifically, only foreign workers in management, professional occupations, or sectors with labor shortages will be able to sponsor their spouse for an open work permit. These occupations are classified under the National Occupational Classification Codes as higher-skilled jobs, meaning those in NOC Skill Level 0, Management, and A, Professional occupations. This change disqualifies many lower-skill foreign workers and their families, leading to concerns in industries like hospitality, agriculture, and retail, which are not covered under these categories. 2. Spouses of international students. For international students, the rules have also tightened. Spouses will only qualify for a work permit if the student is enrolled in a master's, doctoral, or professional degree program. Previously, spouses of international students in nearly any study program were eligible for work permits, but this is no longer the case. 3. Specific sector focus. In addition to limiting spousal work permits to certain occupations, the government is focusing on critical sectors experiencing labor shortages, such as healthcare, engineering, and IT. If the foreign worker does not fall under these in-demand categories, their spouse will likely not be eligible for an open work permit. These changes are part of the Canadian government's broader effort to prioritize immigration that supports the economy, addresses labor shortages, and balances the pressures on housing and healthcare services. While this is understandable from a policy perspective, the impact on families is profound. Why is this happening? The rationale behind this policy shift is multifaceted. Canada is currently facing labor shortages in critical industries, particularly in management, healthcare, and technology. These new restrictions aim to direct labor resources toward the sectors that need them most. The government has emphasized that immigration policies must align with labor market demands to maintain a healthy economy. At the same time, the policy is also a response to the growing strain on social services. Canada's housing crisis and overburdened healthcare system have driven the government to limit the number of immigrants entering through programs that do not align with economic needs. The restrictions on spousal work permits are part of a larger plan to manage the influx of immigrants while ensuring they contribute to sectors in need of workers. Who is affected? The people most affected by this change are foreign workers in lower-skilled jobs and their families. Many couples rely on dual incomes to meet the high cost of living in Canada, especially in cities like Toronto and Vancouver, where housing costs have skyrocketed. If you or your spouse works in hospitality, retail, or construction, you may find that you're no longer eligible for a spousal open work permit. This could force families to live on a single income, which might push them to reconsider their long-term plans in Canada. For spouses of international students, the situation is similar. If the student is not in a master's, doctoral, or professional program, their spouse will no longer be able to apply for an open work permit. What can you do if you're affected? Now, let's talk solutions. If these changes impact you, there are still options to consider. Here are some potential pathways to navigate this challenging situation. 1. Switch to an in-demand occupation. If you or your spouse works in a lower-skilled sector, consider transitioning into an occupation that qualifies under the new rules. This could involve upskilling or retraining to enter fields like healthcare, IT, or engineering, which are experiencing labor shortages. 2. Provincial Nominee Program, PNP. Certain provinces in Canada have their own immigration programs with different rules regarding spousal work permits. Explore whether your province's Provincial Nominee Program, PNP, offers a more flexible pathway for spousal permits. Provinces may have additional programs in place for foreign workers and their families. 3. Employer-specific work permits. If your spouse cannot get an open work permit, another option is to apply for an employer-specific work permit. This type of permit requires a job offer from a Canadian employer. While it takes more time and effort, it provides a legal way for your spouse to work in Canada. 4. Study and gain new skills. If the open spousal work permit is no longer an option, your spouse might consider pursuing higher education. Enrolling in a qualifying study program, such as a master's or professional degree, could later make them eligible for a post-graduation work permit, opening new opportunities for employment. Impacts on families. The emotional and financial toll on families affected by these changes is significant. Many couples move to Canada with the expectation that both partners will be able to work and contribute to the household income. This change disrupts those plans, especially in cities where the cost of living is high. Without two incomes, some families may struggle to afford housing, childcare, and other essential services. In some cases, these policy changes may lead families to reconsider their immigration journey altogether. If both spouses cannot work, they might choose to relocate to a country with better economic opportunities. Thanks for staying with us this far. We appreciate your time and hope you're finding this information valuable. Alternatives and policy insights. Now, let's dive into some alternatives and discuss why the Canadian government is making these changes. Canada's immigration system is under enormous pressure. Labor shortages, particularly in high-skilled sectors like healthcare and technology, require immediate attention. At the same time, Canada's infrastructure, especially housing and healthcare, is struggling to keep pace with the growing number of immigrants. These policy changes are part of a broader immigration reform aimed at balancing economic needs with the realities of limited social resources. Looking forward, the Canadian government may continue to adjust these rules based on labor market demands. It's essential for families affected by these changes to stay informed and explore alternative immigration pathways, such as express entry or provincial nominee programs, which might offer more flexibility in the future. Finally, advocacy and engagement with policymakers can sometimes lead to further revisions in immigration policy. If these rules significantly impact you or your community, it might be worth joining groups that push for more inclusive immigration policies in Canada. Thank you for watching today's video on Canada Chronicles. If you found this information helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications so you never miss an update. We'll continue bringing you the latest news and insights on immigration, so stay tuned for more. If you have any questions or need further clarification, drop a comment below, and we'll do our best to answer. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.